Hey, welcome to the two-column proof fill-in worksheet number 2. Answer key. Let's get going right away. So first off, we want to set up our two-column proof. So I'm just going to make like a little upside down or a T. All right, so I can take my given. So number 1, I'm going to state that AB is congruent to CD, and that reason is given. And then once I write it, label it. AB and CD are congruent. Our next item that's given, just number 2, is AB is parallel to CD. Reason, again, is given. Make sure you are marking each reason and statement with the number that matches. And if those lines are parallel, so then I can make parallel marks. AB is parallel to CD, like that. Now I know they're parallel, so I can also highlight them as parallel. And whenever you have parallel lines, you want to identify that there's a transversal with it as well, like that. And because of that, I'm going to have the angles that make up that Z. These angles are congruent right here and right here. Okay, so step 3 is angle BAC is congruent to angle, now I gotta go DCA, and the reason behind that is alternate interior angles. All right, and then I can move on to step 4. I have a shared side, so AC and AC is congruent to, now let's take a look, here's A to C and C to A. So they're reversed, so I go CA. And step 4, the reason is the reflexive property. And then I have, if you notice, a side, an angle, and a side. And here I have a side, angle, and side. So then I can state in step 5, triangle ABC is congruent to triangle CDA, and my reason, my fifth reason, is SAS, and don't forget to state your statements. So statement 1, statement 3, and 4 are the reason for SAS. Here's number 2. Again, I'm going to set up my 2 columns here to get us going. There's my 2 columns. Let's start off with the givens. So I have angle E is congruent to angle V. So there is E and there is angle V. Number 1, angle E congruent to angle V. Reason number 1 is that it is given. So reason number 2 or statement number 2 is that EA segment is congruent to VA. Reason 2 is given. So EA is right there to VA is right there. So I have those sides congruent. Now I got to kind of look in my picture and try to see something that's nice and helpful. And I do have something very convenient right around point A, is that I have a segment like that and like that. So I have angles that are congruent like that. So I can say angle, no, I cannot say angle A. So I'm going to say angle EAH is congruent. Didn't give myself enough room there. Is congruent to angle. Now if I go E, I follow the congruent side to A and then to the non-congruent side. So that means I got to go angle VAR. And reason 3 is that they are vertical angles. All right, and now if you take a look at the picture, I have an angle, I have a side, and an angle. So then I have step 4, I have triangle, and I might as well just use the same idea. EAH is congruent to triangle VHR, and the reason for that is ASA, and then state my statement, so 1, 2, and 3 in that order, all right? And then now from that, I can say, because I have congruent triangles, then EH is congruent to VR, All right, and that reason is once I have congruent triangles, then the corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent, and that is my proof. For number 3, let's again set up our 2-column proof, and let's make sure I give myself more space for the statements this time. So statement number 1 is going to be QM is congruent to QP, and let's mark that QM congruent to QP, and that reason is that it is given. All right, and then now knowing that, okay, I can prove that I have some other items congruent. So let's take a look here in this large triangle right here. All right, notice that I have congruent sides, which then would mean I would have congruent angles, right? If I have the sides congruent as an isosceles triangle, then the base angles are congruent. So statement 2, I'm going to say angle M is congruent to angle P. And that reason is that it's the base angles theorem. And that was direct result from our original given statement. All right. My next item is that I'm going to go to step 3, and I'm going to say that segment MN is congruent to segment PO, and that reason is also that it was given. So I have then OP and NM, or NM, sorry, MN and PO, those statements are congruent. All right. And then if you take a look at just these outer triangles, notice right there, on those outside triangles, you can see that I have a side and an angle and a side. So then I have, in step 4, I have triangle QMN is congruent to triangle QPO, and that reason is I have side, angle, side, and my statements are number 1, number 2, and number 3. All right, that's the reason. And then from that, statement 5, I have congruent triangles, so then I can state that QN is congruent to QO, and that reason is that corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. On to number 4. Let's start again by setting up our 2-column proof. Let's go ahead and go with our given information. So number 1, we're going to say that segment HW is the angle bisector of angle RHS. Reason number 1 is that it is given. So let's take a look at angle RHS right there and realize that HW is a bisector. All right, so then I have then that angle and that angle are congruent, so I'm going to go ahead and use that right now. So I can say angle RHW is congruent to angle SHW. It's a W. And that reason is just the definition of an angle bisector. Once you know you have an angle bisector, you can use the definition to create congruent lines. And then, you know what I'm going to do next? I'm going to go in and see that in step 3, I happen to have HW is congruent to HW, and that reason is the reflexive property. Now, if you didn't put the reflexive property in step 3 and you put it down in steps 4 or 5, that's okay. Just make sure that you have the reflexive property there with HW congruent to HW. All right. In my 4th step, I'm now actually going to go back to my given and state that HW is the angle bisector of angle RWS, bisector of angle RWS. All right, so let's again take a look at that. I now have RWS, and this segment bisects it. So then based on that, I would have congruent angles. Now I'm going to mark them with a box. Now we could go into the fact that they're 90 degrees. I never put my reason for 4 was given. I could go into the fact that angle RWS or RWH or RSW is 90, but I don't really need to worry about that right now. And I'll show you why here in a second. So right now I can just say angle RWH is congruent to angle SWH. And my reason 5 is the exact same as reason 2, and it's the definition of an angle bisector. All right, I don't need to prove that they're 90 degrees or anything like that, because right here I have angle, I have side, and I have angle. All right, I'm given a angle in number 2, in number 3 I got a side, in number 5 I have an angle. So I can go ahead and write on my step 6, I can say triangle, and I'm going to use the exact same thing. RWH, oops, I did RHW apparently, is congruent to triangle SHW. And my reason there is angle, side, angle. And this is where I want you to make sure by that reasoning I had statement 2, it was statement 3, and statement 5. Now if your statement 3, again, like I said, if you didn't put this in statement 3, then you would have to put that differently in a spot, but make sure that with these statements you have an angle, a side, and an angle in that order in those reasons there, otherwise then you would have a mistake. All right, and then I can then state in my 7th step, I can now say that RH is congruent to SH. And my reason number 7 is, let me bring my column all the way down, is because, again, corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. So my angle, side, angle, congruent triangles, I get to use the CP/CTC, right? With angle bisectors, I prove angles congruent, angle bisector, all right? So try to watch these proofs and realize that one leads into the other in their statements. All right, number 5. Let's set up, I'm going to go down here and set up my 2-column proof, give myself more space down there. All right, number 1, I'll start with the given that JL is congruent to KL. So reason 1 is it is given. If you started with the other given, that's completely okay as well, and if these two are switched around. So I should label that JL congruent to KL. And then LM bisects angle JLK. Well, let's take a look at angle JLK, and then LM is the bisector. And if LM bisects it, it bisects it into 2 congruent angles right there. So in statement 3, from that, I can say that angle, sorry, that's an angle symbol, JLM is congruent to angle KLM. Oh, I never wrote reason 2. Sorry about that. So reason 2 is given. And then reason 3, that is the, again, it's the definition of an angle bisector. Okay, now looking at my triangle, note that I'd also have a shared side right there, so I can use that in reason 4. LM is congruent to LM in this case. Okay, notice L, M. And reason 4 is the reflexive property. All right, and then notice I have myself a side, an angle, and a side. I have side, then here is angle, and there's side. So I have congruent triangle, so triangle JLM is congruent to triangle KLM. And my reason is side, angle, side. And I come from statement 1, statement 3, and statement 4. Right? Well, Now, the thing I need to prove is I need to prove that M is the midpoint of JK. So if M is the midpoint, I need to get congruent segments there and there. Well, I can say that. In step 6, I'm going to say that JM is congruent to KM, and that reason is I can say that because corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. So because the triangles are congruent, all the corresponding parts are congruent, and then because those statements are congruent, I can now say that M is the midpoint of JK, segment JK, and my reason for number 7 is that simply now this the definition of a midpoint. And there you have it.